Good morning. It is Monday, June 1st, and I am here at the Smoke Lake Access Point in Algonquin Park, ready to do my first backcountry camping trip of the season. 2 days ago on Saturday, they announced that we were allowed to go backcountry camping, and since I'm off work and it's a Monday, I thought, you know what, I'm going to come in, just do a one-night trip, get my feet wet, and go to some place that I would normally never go because it's usually ridiculously busy here at this time of year. As you can see, there's no one here. It's about 9 in the morning. I've just unloaded my boat and all my stuff. Everything's in the canoe ready to go, and I'm just going to park the car and then I'm going to head out. I'm super excited. I cannot wait. Well, it is just about 10 o'clock. I've been paddling for a half hour and I am a good ways past halfway. I paddle approximately a kilometer every 10 minutes. Obviously that depends on weather and waves and, you know, all kinds of stuff, but that's about my average. So I assumed it would take me about an hour to get to the Portage from the access, and it's looking like I'm on track with that. It did start raining a little bit. It just started dripping, and I was just starting to kind of get myself together and get my hat and that kind of stuff, and then it stopped before I could even do anything. So hopefully that's it. It was supposed to rain just a little bit between 8 and 9 and 9 and 10. So maybe that's gone now, and it's supposed to be fairly clear for most of the day, and the temperature's supposed to go up to like 20 degrees. So hopefully it's going to be a beautiful day. And I really don't care what it does out. As long as I'm out here and I'm able to camp, I'm happy as a clam. Well, it is just past 10:15, and the Portage is just up ahead there. Made really good time. Just under an hour, which is about what I thought it would be. It's 5.5 kilometers. And I didn't have any wind issues or anything. The weather is getting better as I'm paddling. The clouds are starting to break up. I've even seen the sun pop through a couple of times. So I'm hopeful that it's going to be a beautiful day. It's going to be a beautiful day no matter what the weather does, to be honest. But gonna knock out this Portage. I think it's like 250 meters or something like that. And of course I'll be double carrying. I brought my small backpack with my bear vault in it. Generally when I do trips with the canoe and portaging, I bring my Ursack, but there's a reason that I brought my bear vault today, and I'll go in depth in that further a little later in the video. Alright, Portage into Ragged Lake from Smoke Lake. Quiet as can be. I haven't seen anybody else out here. There were a few cars in the parking lot. I think some of them were for speedboats and cottages, because I've seen some people out at the cottages. And I did see ropes on one of the car. It looked like they had a canoe. So they must have gotten here really early. Here I am. Well, I am on the Portage into Ragged, just getting to the other side. I've got my bear vault in my backpack, my little backpack, in the canoe, and just have to go pick up the big pack. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ragged Lake. Just as beautiful as I remember. that right there, my friends, is why I cannot portage with the solo canoe, because that hits the seat and it doesn't work. Plus I'm not strong enough, but that's another part of the issue. Sun is back out. I've got a couple of hard-boiled eggs out I'm gonna kind of munch on while I start paddling on Ragged, and I'm gonna go look for a really nice campsite. Alright, so now I am on Ragged Lake and I am doing the part that I love. I'm going to find my new home for the night. Now, I've stayed on this lake I think 3 or 4 times, and I've always stayed on the same campsite. Except for one weekend, the second night of the trip, I moved to one of the beach sites. But I remember the preview wasn't that great there, so I don't want to camp there. But I like to camp somewhere new, because that'll make it a new experience. And new campsite is a totally different thing, right? So I usually camp on the right side of the lake. I think it's like the second site down. It's a really nice site. But like I said, I'm going to try to camp over on the left side. I'm excited. Just coming up to the first campsite on the left side. This is actually a spectacular campsite. I've checked it out before. It's on a big cliff, but it is kind of like, I don't know, the gateway into the other side of the lake, and I feel like a lot of people would be passing by here. I want to get a little bit deeper into the lake. I don't want to pick the very first site, so I'm going to paddle past it and see what else I can find. Oh, there's another gust. Oh, this campsite looks interesting. It's got afternoon sun, view of the sunset, and it's got grass, which is weird. But there's also a sheltered area over here where I think the fire pit might be. And because it's supposed to rain starting at midnight, and it's not going to be great tomorrow, that might be really helpful for me. So I'm going to go check it out. There's lots of wind too, which is good to get the bugs away. And there's a bay in behind here, which could be good for wildlife, as well as over here. So I'm going to take a peeky, see what it's like. Oh, this is quite the setup. Holy smokes. It's like I'm at a camp, not the backcountry. There's a table and a bunch of grills, huge fire pit, big benches. It's quite luxurious, but it's also pretty cool. There's grass over here, which is weird. Well, I've been checking out the site further, and I really like it actually. I think I'm going to stay here and it's a pretty spectacular sight. I mean, there's a beachy, rocky shoreline. There's rocks everywhere, which I love. Over here, where the canoe is, there's lots of rocks. They go all the way around. You can actually go through the site and check out the bay from the other side. And then there's like this wicked campsite set up. The beautiful fire pit set up with like a shelf, and I just think it's kind of cool, and I think I'm going to stay here. Well, I just went to move the canoe, and my friend the loon has come to visit. Now I know I'm in the right spot. Hasn't made a peep. Ooh, I'm getting a wing flap. I haven't actually heard a loon call this year. Ooh, he's got a buddy coming up from over here. He's doing the same thing. Maybe they're having a little mating dance. This is exciting. Part of why I leave early in the morning on my trips is because of the weather. I find that it's usually calmer in the morning. Today, the winds were expected to start gusting a lot more in the afternoon. Like I said, between like 8 and 10, it was 14-kilometer gusts, and then between 10 and 12, it was like 25 and 27. I don't know what it is now, but it's more than that for sure. The waves are just rolling in here on the shoreline, and there's actually some whitecaps out on the water. It's not super crazy. I mean, I've paddled in worse, but I'm just kind of happy that I'm on the site and watching it from the shore. I didn't bring much for lunch, but I had one of those cooked chickens. I did my bi-weekly grocery shop this week, and I picked up one of those chickens. So I took all the dark meat off of it and put it in a little baggie in little pieces, just to snack on. I think it even says it's rubbed off. It said chicken snacks on it. My tent is set up over there. It's a really nice spot. It's very sheltered. It's underneath a lot of trees, and because it is going to be raining starting at midnight and then all day tomorrow, I thought that would be a good spot. The ground is also really nice and soft and mulchy there, so and it's fairly level, so good spot for that. Now, I did bring the bug shelter, but I don't need a bug shelter. The bugs are pretty much non-existent. I don't know if it's because of the crazy wind or because it was so cold this weekend, but I probably will set up the tarp portion of the bug shelter just so I have a place to cook in the morning. The wind is picking up more and more, and I'm so glad that I stopped at this campsite and that I didn't do like any type of a big trip over a couple of days. It's just crazy out. There's whitecaps on the water now, and I'm just sitting here. I just finished eating my chicken snacks. There were actually a lot more in the bag than I thought, but what I brought to go with them was some corn chips. These are corn chips with flaxseed. They're really good. I like to bring them on my trips because they're really hearty and they don't like break and get smushed. And then I also brought a ha moo, laughing cow cheese, and I'm literally like just dipping the chips in the cheese. It's really good, actually. I'm sitting here scanning the shoreline for wildlife. There's none yet. I know, shocking. My feet were freezing, so I just took the water socks off and the sandals and just letting them air dry a bit. And then I'm going to put on my nice icebreaker socks and my camp shoes that I brought. I'm actually surprised I got these in the pack. Usually I have to hang them on the outside. Well, I've just spent the last hour or so processing a bunch of wood. I like to have small fires. I'm not like I don't need like big huge logs on the fire, but these sticks are pretty tiny. Major score. I should have filmed that. When I was setting up my tent, I kind of looked around in the trees to make sure that like there weren't any dead branches or widowmakers, as they call it, anything that was gonna fall on my tent. And I noticed a few trees away there was this big branch. And it was broken off, and it was up in the tree, and and it was just lying in the branches of all the other trees. So I couldn't reach it, but I grabbed this piece of wood that has like a little yokey thing on it, I don't know, and somehow I managed to get it in there and pull it. I'm glad it didn't fall and hit me in the head or anything, but I was very cautious about it, and it's a big branch. I went and checked the end of the wood, and it is so dry. It's bone dry. It's awesome. So got my Sven saw here. Just grabbed it out of my pack. I'm going to put it together, and then I'm going to get to work. This wood processing got me warm, which is nice. And the wind has died down a bit, but then it'll just all of a sudden be like crazy gusting again. So I'm going to keep an eye on it for a bit before I decide to go out on the water, if I decide to go out on the water. Kind of enjoying just being at camp, and I mean, I've been paddling the last couple of days, well, since last week. I've been out paddling, but haven't been able to go camping, so kind of just, I'm enjoying being at camp and doing camping things, and just so grateful to be able to be back here. I've had this Sven saw for, I'd say, at least 10 years. I've never changed the blade on it. It's a great little saw. I love it. The only thing I don't like about it is the handle. I find it hard to hold with my hand, because my hand is small. Oh, the wind's dying down. Here comes the bugs. All right, let's get to work. Nice and dry. Oh, go away, bugs. It's getting warm now. I've been sitting and reading for quite some time. Started getting a little bit sleepy, so I decided that I was going to go for a walkabout. I want to see what's on the other side of the campsite. Now the water is calmed down. The wind has calmed down quite a bit. And the bugs are out, but they're not too bad. I don't know if I'm going to put the bug shelter up. I don't think I'm going to bother. I think I'll just put the tarp up for the rain. But just want to see what's out here. So just a little while ago, I heard an owl, which is weird because it's like 4:30 in the afternoon, and I don't usually hear them during the day. But he was asking who was cooking for me, and I told him me. He asked me a couple times, and now I haven't heard from him, so it's over here somewhere though. This is great. I'm definitely going to get a picture of the sunset from here, or a view. Oh, this goes all the way around. Look at that. It's beautiful. Oh, it's like kind of sandy here, and it's a little bit better. Where I am, it drops off really fast. This is kind of like a nice gradual. It'd be a great place to swim if it was hot enough. Well, I kept walking, and on the other side of my campsite is a beach. Isn't it beautiful? Well, I'm really glad I came over to this side of the campsite. It's like so beautiful here, and the wind is a lot calmer, and it's a little bit sheltered. It's actually really nice. I could have sat here in the sunshine all day, probably in my bathing suit. It's so warm I might have even gone for a swim, but I didn't know. Anyways, it's almost 5 o'clock, so I'm gonna get a fire started because I'm cooking my dinner over the campfire tonight, and I'm getting really hungry. Alright, I keep procrastinating about setting up this tarp, and I know it's gonna rain starting at midnight. It doesn't need to be exact, but it's supposed to rain all day tomorrow. So I need a nice dry place to sit and make my breakfast and chill out. So I just put this tarp up. It's not a tarp, it's actually the top of my bug shelter, the VCS 13, 16, 13. It's one of the bug shelters from Eureka. That's enough room for me to put my chair there, and I can cook right on the ground, and there's lots of room for me to kind of spread my stuff out. The ground there is nice and flat, and it's kind of protected from the wind because it's inside the forest a little bit. So I think that will be perfect for me tomorrow morning. Well, with the wind the way it is, it was really easy to light a fire. I literally just took my lighter and set a little piece of birch bark on fire, and my whole little startup setup just caught. Fire's going good. It's about 6 o'clock. I have no idea why it took me so long to get to this point, but I'm starving. I'm ready to make dinner. So what I brought was 2 honey garlic sausages, and I also brought some dough. You know, like the Pillsbury dough for like the hot dogs. You bake it in the oven. And I've done this on a trip once with hot dogs with, I think it was Kimberell Laval and Leanne Hennessy at the Kawartha Highlands. It was pretty good. We made them on the fire. So I'm going to try to do the same thing. I've got the honey garlic sausage. I'm only going to wrap one of them. I think it's just too much dough for both of them, and plus sausages really need to be cooked well, so I'm just a little bit nervous about, you know, getting it cooked all the way. I've actually thought of cooking the sausage first and then putting the dough on it, but I think that would be too much. So I'm gonna do that. I actually brought some skewers. One sec. Here they are. And I thought I would just like put the sausage on the stick like lengthwise, and then put the dough on it, and then try to bake it. But like I said, I have 2, so I might make them both. I might not. I don't know. It depends on if I can ever get these shish kebab skewers undone. I've got elastics around them to keep them from going crazy in my backpack. And I also brought, to go with that, a lovely ripe red tomato. Put it in this cupcake. I think it was a cupcake that was in here, so that it wouldn't get squished. So I've got that, and I brought some, just some Compliments Italian dressing. So I'm just going to chop up the tomato. I'll put a little bit of olive oil in that and mix it with this, and super simple. Nice side to go with it. I don't know if this is going to stay on the stick, honestly. It's very warbly. Alright, now, not sure how to do this. Should I do it lengthwise? I think I'll do it, no, I'll do it this way. I don't have tons of bread either, like I don't want it to be super bready. I did bring some Dijon mustard as well, some male Dijon mustard. Oh, that rolled up really nice. I brought some male Dijon mustard just to dip it in afterwards, because I like my sausage with some mustard. So hopefully this works. Now I'm just gonna have to sit here and hold it. You know what? I saw a grill. There's like tons of them around here. They're everywhere. I'm gonna put a grill up on the fire, and then I'll just lay it on there. That way I don't have to hold it and I can just roll it around. So, all right, so I just put a bunch of little logs in there to burn, and then I put one of the logs on the side. This one isn't burning very well, so I'm gonna put the grate right over top of that. And then I'll just have to wait for it to die down a little bit. There's too much fire. It'll just burn the sausage. All right, looks like a pretty good cooking surface there. I actually have a little grill that I bring. I usually just lay it on top because, you know, I don't know where these grills have been, but this grill's been sitting here all winter. I mean, I don't think there can be much on it, and the fire's burning away all the stuff, so I think I'm just gonna go with the one that's here and put my sausage on. So grab it. This works. Put it right here. I don't know. Over here, maybe. I always bring a bit of foil with me. I always keep it in my kitchen kit, and I noticed that this is sticking to the grill, so I'm going to just lay it on the foil. I don't know if that's going to help. It'll probably just stick to the foil, but I'd rather have it stick to the foil than the grill. Oh, I don't know if I can get it that far. Yes, okay. Super. Well, it is starting to cook, actually. That's cool. Just have to make sure the sausage gets cooked inside too. Ah! Well, that one's gonna get real cooked.